He's small, he's blue, and he's the fastest thing around. That's right, I'm talking about the blue blur Sonic the Hedgehog. Sonic's been zipping around video game consoles since 1991, his first release, Sonic the Hedgehog. And since then, there have been many games with many different characters created with each. Each installment has introduced a wide variety of new cast members to help Sonic in his valiant battle against the evil Dr. Eggman, or to stand against him along Eggman's side, or just to serve as their own neutral parties. Needless to say, there's a lot of people in the Sonic universe. As such, there'd be a lot of characters that stick as favorites more than others. And I'm no exception to that list. There are definitely people that I like more in the Sonic universe than others. That's what this video is about. As promised in my last video, I'm top 10 favorite Sonic characters out of all the games. Before I actually get started on this list, I'd like to make some honorable mentions to some characters who, while I do like them, didn't make the list only because of the parameters I set for myself. Those two characters are Scourge from the Sonic comics and Nazo, a fan-made creation used by an unused Sonic X character. Both of them are pretty cool and serve as excellent bad guys in their own respective things. However, since Nazo comes from a fan-made thing, I don't feel it's fair to count that, although it is still really cool and you guys should check it out. And Scourge comes from the comics, who I openly said in the beginning, I'm not using. So while they are both really cool, I'm going to have to refrain from using either. As such, let's get started. Number 10. Starting off this list is actually one of the few elemental characters in the game, Blaze the Cat. Blaze the Cat is a character who can freely control the element of fire, which is just inherently pretty awesome. Given the fact that she's actually made of fire, it just exists within her soul, that just makes it even cooler. The only reason Blaze didn't score any higher than number 10 on this list is because of her inconsistency in the games. Is she supposed to be the alternate dimension princess who guards the soul emeralds like she was in Sonic Rush? Or is she supposed to come from the future that Silver does like she does in Sonic 06? Make up your mind, Blaze. What are you? Number 9. Next up, we have the Psychic Soldier from the future, Silver the Hedgehog. Silver didn't really make this list because of any heroic traits or any defined personality that he has. He truthfully only made this list because I really like psychics. And Silver does a pretty good job of actually being a psychic. He doesn't really serve as a problem too much in Sonic 06, his lack of speed, because well, he didn't need to be fast like Sonic or Shadow did. He just had to move things with his mind, and he did a pretty good job of it. I enjoyed getting to throw enemies around and stuff, and float, and all that other cool psychic stuff he got to do. So while Silver may not be the best character in my mind, he's still a pretty cool psychic, so that deserves a spot on this list. Number 8. Next up, we have the Blue Blur himself, Sonic the Hedgehog. I'm sure it's going to be kind of surprising to a lot of people to see Sonic so low on this list, but he just never really did that much for me as a main character. I mean, he's too laid back for everything. You need to have some sense of urgency when you're saving the world all the time. That being said, I still gotta give Sonic kudos for being the fastest thing alive. Not a lot of people can hold that title. Truthfully, only he can. Plus, it's really hard to match his wit. Sonic, you're just awesome, and for that you've earned a spot on this list. Number 7. Throughout the years, there's been a lot of Sonic lookalikes, most of which ironically don't actually look anything like Sonic. However, there has been one lookalike character who's done just that and served as an excellent rival character for Sonic. That is Metal Sonic, aka Metal. Metal Sonic first got his debut back in Sonic CD, and ever since then, he's been giving the Blue Blur a run for his money. He made a big comeback in Sonic Heroes where he served as the main bad guy for the series. While he didn't have a terribly imposing presence throughout most of the game, the small subtle appearances he did make leading up to his big transformation at the end made a huge impact when he did transform. Plus, this remake of his fight from Sonic Generations was a true work of art. For that, Metal, you have earned the spot on this list as number 7 best character of the Sonic franchise. Number 6. Despite being the main bad guy of the series, Eggman doesn't really hold that much of an imposing presence. However, a lot of the machines he makes can be pretty terrifying. We already talked about one of them with Metal Sonic. However, I believe there's another robot he has created that is infinitely more terrifying than Metal Sonic, and that is E123 Omega. Omega first made his debut entrance in Sonic Heroes, and he had one heck of an intro too. First thing you see of him is him daring to take on Shadow, the ultimate life form. A pretty ballsy move if you ask me. Even ballsier was the fact that he ended up befriending Shadow and becoming one of his closest allies. Not that that's a bad thing. I'd like to have an ally with that many weapons hidden away in those giant arms of his too. Plus, he definitely made ultimate attack from Team Dark in Sonic Heroes one of the coolest ever. I mean, what beats giant oscillating laser cannons? That's just awesome. Number 5. And now we hit the cream of the crop, the top 5. As a lot of you know, there's been a lot of hit and miss Sonic games throughout the years. One of which would actually be Sonic Riders. Although, despite its lack of popularity, I actually really enjoyed Riders. Played the ever-living daylights out of it as a kid. And there was definitely one character out there that stuck out to me more than any. That would be the King of Thieves himself, Jet the Hawk. I mean, what's not to like about him? He leads the ultimate band of thieves, descended from thieves. That's awesome. Plus, he's able to match Sonic right from the get-go, which most really cool characters can do. Cough, cough, Shadow. I mean, admittedly, he does have to do it from a hovering skateboard, also awesome, but hey, what are you gonna do? That was the premise of the game. Besides, he's descended from a genie. A genie?! Number 4. In case it wasn't already blatantly obvious from some of my past picks, like Silver, Metal Sonic, or Jet, I have a soft spot for rival characters. So, it only makes sense I would pay homage to the original rival character, Knuckles the Echidna. Knuckles has actually been a pretty solid rival character for Sonic since he was first introduced. It's not because he's as fast as him. It's definitely not because he's as fast as him. He's not as fast as him. Rather, it's because of Knuckles' strength. He doesn't need any special move like a homing attack or a spin dash or anything like that. Knuckles just has to punch you in the face. You can't argue with a good solid punch to the face. Plus, him being Guardian of the Master Emerald really speaks volumes. Especially since the Master Emerald houses a god. A god, duh. Number 3. It's pretty common knowledge to everyone that Sonic 06 was a pretty bad game. Arguably one of the worst of the franchise, if not the worst. However, to me, it did have a pretty solid story and some really cool cast members. There's one such character out there that really stuck out to me, and that would be the main bad guy of the game, Mephiles the Dark. I know, shocker, I picked a Shadow lookalike. Who'd have thought? However, it's not his looks that earned Mephiles the spot on this list. Rather, it's his ominous presence in the game. He serves as the darker side of Shadow, who is already himself pretty inherently dark. Plus, he manages to do the one thing that no other bad guy out of the entire franchise has ever been able to do. He kills Sonic. I mean, the only person to ever put an end to him. For that, Mephiles, you are number 3 in my book. Number 2. Unfortunately, throughout a greater majority of the series, there haven't been too many terribly great female characters from many Sonic games. I mean, heck, even amongst my own list, I only really named one, and she's on number 10. However, there is one character out of the series I think definitely earns a high spot on this list, and that would be Rouge the Bat. First introduced in Sonic Adventure 2, Rouge definitely had a soft spot in my heart since the beginning. She was beautiful, mysterious, and cunning. Pretty much everything I look for in a girl nowadays. And, while it may not have always started off as a very friendly relationship, she has formed a lasting bond with Shadow, probably becoming his best friend, only behind Maria, who is dead. But, needless to say, Rouge has still definitely earned a high spot on this list for being one of my favorite characters of this game. Number 1! I'm sure for all of my previous subscribers that this is coming as no surprise, but yes, my number one favorite character in the entire Sonic franchise is none other than Shadow the Hedgehog himself. That's right, the ultimate life form, and that's a title he has definitely well earned. Like Rouge also appearing at first in Sonic Adventure 2, he was immediately an imposing force, being able to first scene with Sonic to show him up so effortlessly, and then make such a smooth exit.
I'm the world's ultimate life form. Farewell.
I mean, look at that. You can't mess with that. Plus, he's one of the only characters to actually be able to weaponize the powers of Chaos. He invented Chaos Control, turned it into Chaos Spear, and then in Shadow the Hedgehog decided that wasn't good enough and made Chaos Blast. I mean, what's not to like? Shadow, you have always been my favorite and will continue to be so till the day I die.
Maria, this is what you wanted, right? This is my promise I made to you.
And that's my list. Tell me what you guys think. Is Shadow truly the ultimate life form? Does Sonic actually best him? Or is there someone better than both of them? Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Until next time, Hyperion, signing out.